What the hell are you? Spawn. You sent me to hell, Jason. I'm here to return the favor. I'm feeling strange, trapped in the grave. All alone, I rot in my own skin. So seeing my stain, a choking restraint. The perfect flame lays out my own name. Hell's rising. Hell's rising. The scars remain, a deeper disdain. A blood field, blinded response. From here I cling to the ones that remain. Exile without reason. The time to kill us, the feelings we feel this like someone is clear to blow. We're building the power, strengthening the arm. Yeah, building the wall. Welcome to your demonstration.
People and things of that like something. Fuck!
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Spawn Review, episode 9. Let's go. 9 of these already.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
If you guys, all right, sweet. Yeah. If you guys notice, Sean is not here tonight. He is actually, I have no idea exactly what he's doing. If I was, I must not be a good friend because I always forget. Like, he said it last week. He's like, dude, I'm not going to be here next week for the entire comic block. He's like, maybe I'll make it for Akba. He's like, but I'm not going to make it for the Spawn Review. And he told me why. And I'm just like, fuck, I can't remember. So, yeah. That's my bad.
Gooch is here. Gooch is here.
Yeah. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Our other co-host is here. We do have a guest coming on. I'm sure he'll be jumping on here when he gets a chance. So we're going to rock and roll with that. Always nice to have new people jumping on the show and talking one of our favorite characters. And tonight we were thinking about talking about our favorite Spawn variants. Now, I had to say specifically when I was bringing up the topic, I was like, we need to talk about other variants than just Gunslinger, because that's the first that comes in mind is probably Gunslinger Spawn, because that's probably the most popular, especially with the series variants of Spawn. So I think we brought up a couple good ones, and we got Zach is our special guest. He's coming on. He's got some stuff. We're gonna wait for him to get on before we actually jump into it. But Gooch, I feel like you have some news that might have happened over the weekend. Maybe something exciting happened. Maybe you want to share that with everybody.
Oh yeah. Well, over the weekend I've been pushing. I just want to say I never thought I would get to 1,000. Ask Joe. I've always kind of looked.
I knew he would get there though. Like I've always believed. Yes,
you have. You've been one of the most faithful friends, and along with a long list of others. But you've been like number one, like from the very beginning.
Thank you.
From the legit very beginning, number one guest. But
that's true. Yeah.
Past 1,000, and now I'm at just over 10,000, and I can't thank everyone enough. I never even thought I'd ever get there. Like, and it has to do with the new format. I changed everything, and people are digging it. And I looked at the analytics, and majority of my subscribers are from New York and New Jersey, which is like 68%. Yeah. So, thank you to everyone. I appreciate everyone. There's lots I got planned moving forward. This guy right here is going to be with me along the way, and a few others. So thank you to everyone. I appreciate it a ton. Like it was, I didn't know how to feel yesterday. I was kind of stunned, to be honest, but
dude, 10K subscribers on a channel is amazing. This channel sits at 2,100.
We're gonna change that. We're gonna change that.
Yeah, we'll get there. I mean, like, talking comics is a niche thing, and I'm really trying cultivate an actual community of comic book talk and art love, you know, instead of all the other BS that gets into. Your channel is great because you cover a lot of positive. You cover a lot of positive pop culture stuff and just talk about the things you love. And I think that's really what people want to see more than anything else. So, you know, I think it's awesome. Congratulations to you. Shout out to you. Hopefully, everybody in the chat, give a shout out to Jay and Diabolical Soul Studios. Links are down below. Go sub to his channel if you haven't yet. Let's keep that thing growing. 10K. Congratulations. Now it's on to 2025. Let's keep rolling, man. It's going to be awesome. Looking forward to it. Let's say out of the chat real quick before we go. Get going here. Mark Penguin was number 1 in the chat and number 1 in our hearts. So I bet Joe's is by Brett Booth. Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it absolutely is Gunslinger, but we had to think of other variants to cover because Gunslinger is just too easy, right? We'll actually go into the Gunslinger story at some point and just dive into it because it deserves multiple, I think, shows of getting into what's going on in that story, but right now we're just going to kind of talk about the variants. I want you guys in the chat to tell us what your favorite variants are, why you like those variants, and then we'll dive into it. We got Hail the Lore in the house. Says, Hail, can't wait for you all to dive into Gunslinger. It's my favorite series from the main titles. We definitely will. Absolutely. Nadia's in the house. Spawn is like one of my top favorite comic book characters. Hells yes. Well, you're at the right show because we just want to talk Spawn here. Let's roll. Raiden Radio. Hail to you. Good to see you. Got pizza in the house. Member of the channel Cosmic Studios is here. Great to see you. Duck Bacon. Always in chat. Love seeing you, brother. Thank you for being here. We have Christopher Bouchard's in the house. Hello, my favorite version of Spawn is medieval Spawn. Yes, dude. I'm there with you. That's actually the first variant of Spawn that we saw in the comics. Dan's in the house. Says hello. Hello to you. Good to see you guys. Member of the channel, Sheldon Martin. Pretty sure it was a charity auction. What I miss you guys talking about.
Oh, that Sean's going to.
Oh, Sheldon knows. Damn it, man. Now you make me really look like a bad friend.
Yeah. Actually, I forgot too. And he texted us.
We're horrible. We're horrible. Horrible. Paul's in the house. Good to see you, Paul. YSA. By the way, guys, if you didn't see the picture that YSA is drawing of Reaper Destroyer that I'm going to use for something for campaign 2. He's rolling on it right now, inking it. It's looking fantastic. I can't wait for you guys to see it. So keep up the great work, brother. Everybody go sub to him, follow him on X or any place he might be. Let's see. Carbon Dioxide's in the house, member of the channel. Yo, yo, yo. David says, love the show. None of the drama and whack shit politics, just comics and art. Yes, sir. That's what we try to keep this show, this channel about. Lots of things to get on. We can spar all day on X, and I'm all about it, man. When we come to this channel, let's just have a good time. Let's just have a good time. We got the awesome one in the house. Great to see you. Carbon Dioxide says, I picked up 3 volumes set of Shadow of Spawn. It's a manga variant of Spawn. Is badass. I don't think I've ever read that. Interesting. Tell us more about that. I'm interested. YSA's Reaper Destroyer is freaking fire. Yeah, it is, man. 1000%.
Absolutely, it is.
Here on the Steadfastest here. Great to see you. Great to see you. All right. Well, I have no idea when Zach is going to get here. So we're gonna fly into some stuff right now.
He has a surprise for you. But I don't know if and he's gonna ink it on the show tonight. Yeah. So he said he'll be here right away. He just left work and he'll be like 9 minutes, so he should be here like any second. So
if you guys are unaware, Zach, actually on the show that we're doing on Jay's channel tomorrow that he hosts, the X-Men, what's it actually called? The X-Men 97
review. It's X-Men 97 reviews, and we just go episode by episode. And tomorrow's episode number 2, is going to be a heavy episode. I'm looking forward to that one because everyone has their own takes on it, and the conversations that we have are awesome. I really am looking forward to that, and we might have a special guest. Depends if he shows up.
We might. We'll see. Maybe a rotating guest every once in a while will pop in.
Yes.
Definitely tune in for that tomorrow night at 10 over on Diabolical Soul Studio. All right. So I believe this is one of the ones that you dropped into our chat. I'm trying not to dox anybody here in the DMs, but I'm bringing this up right off the bat. So King Spawn.
Yeah.
Now, this is actually a title that I have not got into. I bought the first few issues, got it all set and ready to go, but I don't read a lot. I don't have a lot of time to read. So I was really into Gunslinger, kind of just jumped on that and followed that for a while. And now I'm kind of on the main title, following that for a little while. What is it about the King Spawn that makes this one a variant or just something you really dig?
The art style is a little different in the book, but it's more of the story that grabs you with this series. This is the leading up to the throne. A lot of the talk in King Spawn, so you learn a lot of the background as well. That's leading to what happened in 350. So
Okay.
I haven't I got probably like 5 issues I have to catch up on here
Yeah.
since then. But it's a really good read. Now I'm curious where they're going to go after the throne because I haven't read those ones yet. But this one I believe was done by Javier Fernandez. I could be wrong.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was Fernandez. King Spawn. Yeah, that was Fernandez, Javier Fernandez. And he has some sick art in there. I really dig it. I like just the ominous look about it. Like it's just a different vibe that you normally don't get from Spawn, like a head-on face shot like that. Like you
Yeah.
don't really see that too often. So I really dig that that cover.
Yeah, it's much more. I mean, not that you would consider Spawn like the traditional hero or anything, because he's always had a
Mhm.
menacing look to him. But this definitely has much more of a sinister look on
Yeah,
this cover. Yeah,
you
it's
could
it's
you could
it's,
say
it's pretty
you could say
wicked.
it's diabolical. But
You could
I
say that, yeah. Yes, you could.
but yeah, you like and you like a lot of the artists like when they do these you know how it is like you have
Hmm.
that Reaper Destroyer that Dale Keown does and he of course he kills it.
Hell yeah.
But a lot of artists shy away from the head-on face shots, and so I just really dig this uh this this image. I think it's a great shot. That the play on like a lot of the the black inks with the color schemes, the shadows. Like I dig it with obviously the thorn, crown.
Y- Yeah, I was gonna say, slightly blasphemous for me as a Christian, but
Hmm.
still a cool looking cover. I don't know exactly what the story is about, but I do like a good, face shot straight on. Clip that, everybody.
Hmm.
Love the heavy blacks in this. I love, the coloring on the crown is great, and it just offsets with the eyes and the what is that, the ectoplasm kind of power that Spawn has
Yeah.
coming out. Yeah, it's just a sick looking cover. There are so many things that we talk about on the show that I get excited about. I'm like, I want to go back and start reading and find out about some of these books that I don't follow on a regular basis. And I just, it sucks that I just don't have the time. So I mean, it's nice to have this show because I like to pick your guys' brains about the stuff that I don't know, which is actually quite a bit. If you guys are new to the show, like I pretty much stopped reading Spawn after issue 100, and it wasn't like I was tired of it. It was just like I followed Greg Capullo and Tom McFarlane,
Yeah. Me
on the
too.
art, and that was when Greg left the book. It was kind of like one of those you hit 100, you had that great storyline, death Malbolgia, death of Angela, like obviously you're going in another direction. Greg leaves the book. It just seemed like a good ending at the time to just to kind of hop off at the point. And then I skipped about, I don't know, friggin' everything until about 300. I jumped back on board after that, and
Hmm.
I was intrigued. I liked it. And then Gunslinger came out, and I was all about Gunslinger for the longest time. So there's a lot of things that I'm trying to catch up on, and that's basically one of the reasons why I'm doing the show.
It was really tough to pick covers that because you're like besides Gunslinger, I'm like because Gunslinger is my book. I love Gunslinger, especially with Brett
Yeah,
motherfucking Booth.
Brett
I just
motherfucking
love
Booth. Put the respect on the name when you're in this chat.
yeah
Yes, sir.
yeah because it's the art is unbelievable and I dig the story. I really like the story in that as well. Um, but you touched on something like because you're Christian and everything, but I like that those little nuggets that they throw in there just to kind of make people go, "Hey, that's my religion." Like, why? I don't mind that stuff because it makes you think a little bit. Like it brings depth to the character and to just everything. Because and it's not doing it like a negative tone. It's just like it's kind of just putting it out there, like, hey, you know, here's this figure, and like, yes, you know, Jesus wore the crown, but Spawn is kind of put in that spot when it comes to the all the realms right now, because he was supposed to be taking the throne. So
Right.
because everyone is kind of pushing him to, you know, take the throne. Everyone was like indicating it was going to be him, even though he had, you know, the clown and everyone else vying for the throne as well. But it was just I don't mind these kind of touchy topics, as long as it's not, you know, pornographic or anything like that. Like that, there's no need for that kind of stuff. But
Well,
um, I mean, that goes without saying. But I kind of like that they're kind of challenging and pushing back with this kind of, you know, image.
the the thing that I understand of what Todd does with his universe, you know, is coming at it from my religious point of view. Him being an atheist and everything, he really he doesn't go he doesn't go into it trying to tear down anything. Like it's really
No,
just his take of like and Thomas Healy said it when he was on the show not too long ago that this is the Spawn universe. This is what hell and heaven are in the Spawn universe. Neither is a good side. They're, you know, kind of like warring gang factions, right? And everybody else is just caught in the middle. I got no problem with that. It's a fictional
yeah,
story, you know, so I don't get too caught up into any of that stuff with my religious beliefs, and I just try to enjoy the story for what it is, you know. And something like this, you know, like that is what it is. Like I can still look at this cover and be like, man, that's a fucking fire ass cover, you know. It
hmm
really is. Guys, if you're in the chat real quick, share out the stream wherever you're at. We're streaming to YouTube, X, Facebook. Share it out. Let's get more eyes on it. Get more people in as we're waiting for Zach to come in. He does have a surprise we want to check out for the show. I'm looking forward to that. He always draws some really awesome stuff. I'm sure he's gonna
hmm
knock it out of the park with this one.
hmm
Uh okay. Well, let me save Zach's. I don't want to bring it up if he's not here. Let me. Oh, here's another King Spawn. Weird. This actually kind of ties into last week's show with what you dropped here, and maybe you can fill me in a little bit because I know that Billy Kincaid has come back a few different times. Now, I remember
yeah.
him coming back in issue 100 and getting decapitated by Spawn, you know, very easily. But I do remember hearing that he came back a few times. So what was this? What was this about in King Spawn? Because I get kind of confused when it
Oh,
comes to the main titles and what King Spawn actually falls. So I assume it's something like, you know, Amazing Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, you know, same
that's number
character.
2, right? That's King Spawn number 2.
Yes, King Spawn 2. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember all that. I think that was with the clown, like messing with his mind.
Okay, so Billy
I
Kincaid
just
actually wasn't coming back in this scene.
it was in the book, but I'm because it was so long ago. I'm trying to remember the story, but I remember the cover. I have this cover,
It's a badass
and
fucking cover.
that's Fernandez, I believe, as well. And it's
Oh, it
just a
looks like
kick ass.
McFarlane right down here. I think that's just
That's the
straight up McFarlane.
cover. That's the cover B cover. I think it's Fernandez that
Oh,
did that cover. Um,
okay.
I could be wrong. I could double check, but
Yeah, I'm just seeing
uh,
McFarlane's signature down
yeah,
here. That's why. So
but it's I remember seeing this cover and going, "Oh shit, this is going to be a good story." And it was a good story, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Um, or actually, it's I'm trying to remember it. It was so long ago. I've read so many. Like I got a stack of books, dude, right here that I got to read yet, um, and catch up on. And I've read so many, and lately I'm just like I can't even mumble jumble them together. But this one was a really good story. I was just like, because again, it was about uh, him controlling the portals. You know, a lot of his enemies that are, you know, vying for the throne as well are getting pissed off with him, and he's on his own pretty much. And it was a lot of mind games in this one, and I can't remember. I think he was in like I think the clown was messing with him in this episode, but I'm pretty sure this is a Fernandez cover. Someone in the chat, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the cover B cover, and same as the other one.
Gotcha.
What's up,
Uh,
Mark?
Pizza says in Spawn comics there are lots of changes. Yes, there are. There are. What's going on, Zach?
Dude, I literally just came in through the door from Amazon.
Oh,
I
nice.
got an awesome drawing that I think that you're going to love, and I
Oh,
think the
look forward
crowd
to it.
is going to love. I'm about to start inking right now, and I'm eating mac and cheese.
Someone's
So
got to
I'm ready.
replace. Someone's got to replace Kayla on this night for eating on the stream. So
Yeah.
might as well be Zach. Shout out to Kayla, by the way. She's out on vacation, swimming with the sharks out in Hawaii. So don't get eaten, Kayla. That's all I gotta say.
Phrasing, Joe. Phrasing.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, just don't get eaten by a shark.
Yeah.
How about that? Well, let me bring up. Well, that's a shitty ass picture. Of course, I got the low quality ones. There we go. We'll use that one. Let me bring up mine real quick while we get Zach situated here. So I can't remember who it was in the chat. Maybe it was Hail the Lord, but my favorite variant of Spawn, besides Gunslinger, because I already said Gunslinger is it, but we had to go with that was just too easy. So Medieval Spawn. I always love the concept of Medieval Spawn. I think this was the first time in the series. This was issue 9, I believe, is when we saw Gunslinger when he goes up against. We see him in the introduction of Angela, or Gunslingers are Medieval Spawn in the introduction of Angela, and we get to see a version of a Spawn back in the medieval days. And it's the first time you kind of really dive into the fact that other people have been the hosts or has been Spawn in the past. And the idea to go back and just put it into a medieval times was great. I don't know if that came from who was that, Gaiman that wrote that story?
Neil Gaiman.
Neil Gaiman.
Neil Gaiman, yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if that just
Because
came
that
from
was
the
the fir-
mind.
That was the first appearance of Medieval Spawn and Cagliostro, and I believe Angela as well.
Yes, I always forget that
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Cagliostro was introduced. Like for some reason, I always feel like he showed up earlier than that.
Right. Well, you
Huh.
want to hear a known fact, which I thought was
Yes.
really interesting. When Neil Gaiman took Todd McFarlane to court over the rights of Angela, the biggest thing is that for years Neil Gaiman just kept asking Todd for a check, a contract for something written up for Angela, because Todd was making toys, so there was the
Right.
Angela action figure and stuff. So every time Gaiman through the years would ask him, Todd McFarlane would send them love checks. Oh, here you go. And maybe it was just because we all know how Todd is. The guy's a workhorse. He's always working on something. Maybe just like all that time and actually just slipped his mind to actually put it together. So Neil Gaiman just took him to court. And the funny thing is that in order for the ruling to happen, to be the final, the judge had to read every single Spawn comic there was to print in order to make his decision. And the
Really?
judge came back with the decision that issue 9 of Spawn is the pivotal point that ties everything lore-wise together for Spawn, because everything previous to that was like lore-wise wasn't really necessary. It was when Cagliostro, Angela, and Medieval Spawn came in. Those were the important factors. Like there's a Spawn lineage. There is a big heaven and hell war that was fully explained. Issue 9 is packed with everything that ties it all together. So, I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, that's great. Some inside information I haven't heard before. Like I hear stuff about the trial and this or that, but it makes me wonder, has it ever been determined or has it ever come out that was this just a straight up concept that Gaiman came up with, or did Todd like give some kind of direction, be like, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, write me an awesome story? Because wasn't that the whole dispute in that lawsuit, that Gaiman, because of the way Image was set up, that if you come there, you create a character, you own the character, you own the rights to the character to use it how you want. But Todd looked at it as he was bringing in a freelance, guy to write stuff for his universe, and it wasn't a created, like I don't have a character and bring it in kind of thing. So there was like a dispute of like the ownership because of that aspect. So like I always wonder, did Todd say like, hey, I've got a character that I want to Spawn to take place in medieval Spawn. I want an angel hunter, and I want a mentor for Spawn.
Mhm.
And
It's really rough because if Todd was listening in and in the chat when I feel like it is a touchy subject, because you got characters like Chapel, Angela, and I'm forgetting somebody else, and these are Tony Twist, right? And these are
Yeah,
Right.
characters that
Tony Twist was a big one. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he can't use these characters like for like a movie or like whatever he so does it, which is ridiculous because he's been passionate way before he broke into the industry about Spawn. He's had that for so long, and he goes and talks about it. And when you read up in the little details, the fun factoids and whatnot, it's just kind of ridiculous that he can't be allowed to use that one character, which is really important in the comic books. I mean, Tony Twist really does a lot, behind the
Early on.
scenes. Yeah, with Jason Wynn, definitely early
Yeah.
on. Same thing with Angela. I'm like, you take her out of the equation,
Such
it's
a great character.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why it was
and
such a bummer that they obviously had to kill her to just be done with it because they were losing the character. In which the story worked out good. The death scene was awesome. Spawn issue 100 is one of my favorite all-time Spawn
Oh
books.
yeah.
Because of that reason, ups and downs. But it does kind of suck. Like, I understand Chapel because that was created by Rob Liefeld. It came from Extreme Studios. They were doing like that kind of crossover when Image was still kind of a shared universe of different companies. And that was a fun thing for the fans to be like, who killed Al Simmons, And it just turned out that it was a hero, or so to speak, from another, Image creator that was part of Youngblood was the character. It was very fun to see those characters cross over early on in the Image days. So I understand why, the falling out with Rob or everything that happened with Rob leaving Image and whatever went down with that. You kind of had to retcon that, because you couldn't use Chapel. Now, the Tony Twist thing, the thing I don't
it's
understand
funny,
about this,
dude. It's so funny.
the thing I don't understand, and I don't know all the behind the scenes stuff, right? But couldn't you have just gone into there and proven that there's I'm sure there's more than one Tony Twist, out there?
Well, it was all about the image because they used a similar image of Tony because McFarlane's a big hockey fan, right? And Tony Twist was playing for the St. Louis Blues at the time, and he was the leading one of the leading fighters, like penalty minutes in the NHL at that time.
Right, yeah.
So he used that name, and he was using it as kind of like a like a I don't want to say homage because that's not the right term, but like a kind of a wink of I see you,
yeah.
we're gonna give you props for what you do on the ice, fighting all these heavyweight NHL players, and Tony Twist took him to court over that and won. And they had to get rid of that character, which was a shame because I agree with you. Tony Twist was significant in the earlier books. He was the man in the shadows that did a lot of plotting and planning. But I mean, the Angela one, I never understood that one. I didn't until Zach mentioned it. It was always up in the air. I didn't know what exactly happened in the end there. I just know that they killed her off.
I'm the same way. There were plenty of times throughout my life where I stepped away from comics from time to time here or there, and I missed a lot of stuff. And so I thought the same thing. One of the times where I was just kind of coming back, they killed her off. I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. They killed Angela. And I had no idea it was because of, all the behind the scenes stuff, which, live and learn, I guess, business wise, when you're doing indie comics, that stuff is all weird behind the scenes, especially when money gets involved and, everybody wants their cut. So it does suck. But Sheldon Martin says, Angela dies. Yeah. Spoiler. Sorry.
Which kind of sucks because we went over the Alan Moore story, and you have these guys come on and do these books, guys that are led. I don't care for Neil Gaiman, but he's a really good writer when he wants to be. But it really sucks that they have come on, done those books, and then taken away a piece that belongs in that universe. That I think you just need to put your ego off the side and just say, you could buy it from me for this price and it's yours. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, that, and I think the lesson going forward for any independent person that wants to work with another independent creator is like make sure that it's well known, contract or in writing, that you're coming over to do stuff for me and I am maintaining ownership of the stuff that's being done in this storyline. So if you don't want that, then don't create a really cool character that you're worried about making money for me. You know, like I'm paying you, right? This is a job. I'm paying you to write this story with these characters in it, and that should be it. You know, it's just, I don't know. Business is weird, man.
I mean, the thing is, even though we're talking about it, at the end of the day, by no means are we at all disrespecting like just a bad malpractice business decision from Todd. It's just, you know, in the comic industry, even from the golden age, there's always, you know, quarrels between creators,
Yeah.
and I just, you know, I thought that was just so freaking ridiculous. I mean, Neil Gaiman has such a whole slew of accomplishments that something so like simple like Angela, you know, I'm like, really, dude? That's the thing that you want to go ahead and make us think about? Now, you know, it is what it is, but you know, I don't know. It just seems a little weird, dude. Like,
Yeah, no, it does suck because one, the fans are the ones that suffer because of it. Because you know what Gaiman do? He got Angela, and then he sold her to Marvel, and Marvel
right?
fucked her up. You know, and like
Yeah.
it's like a great character because of all of that. You know, you really could have tried to work something behind the scenes of just some kind of royalty rights. Like you said, Todd was sending him checks. You know, why not
Oh
just
yeah, he
make
was
that?
getting
Why
paid
not just
whenever he
make
was
that the case
asking.
going forward? If I was gaming, I'd be like, sweet, you know, it's free money going forward for however long.
Right.
Why is
I mean, if you see the price on some of those checks too, you would be like eyebrow raised, like, really, dude, and you still took them to court. Like, I don't know, man. It
oh
was like,
yeah, I was gonna
thanks for
say I
doing them
guarantee it was
dirty.
good. I guarantee it was good. YSA said on Robservations, which is Rob Liefeld's podcast, he goes into details from the book written about the whole issue Todd had with various people and how he went broke for a moment.
Yeah.
Cool thing I always respect about Todd, man, is that dude's a train. You know, like you might hit some speed bumps or whatever, but nothing slows him down. I mean, look at 30 some odd years building his empire, as I like to call it, of Spawn, the toys, everything. And now, you know, we're talking 30 years later when we had Thomas Healy on. Over the last how many years now, he's really expanded the universe because it's like, I'm gonna actually create a universe, put out multiple books and make them all badass. And even though I don't read them all, like that's awesome, man. Like that's, to me, that's something to work for.
Determination and resilience. Like, that's a man that's focused. And I like, and I mentioned this earlier on another channel, but like Eric July, when we were having discussions with him, he said he talked to Todd about a lot of those things, about the business aspect of things and how to go about it and all the mistakes that he made. And it's, you know, it's crazy. It's a crazy business. Like, everyone wants, once you make something that everyone likes, then everyone wants a chunk out of it too, right? So it's
Everybody, yeah, and also everybody wants to take down the king, you know.
Yep.
That's just when you put yourself in that position, there's pros and cons that come with it, you know. There's the adoration from the fans, but there's also a lot of people gunning for your spot, which is, you know, I would like to be in that position. So I'm not, you know,
You will be. You will be, brother.
one day, baby. Zach, you threw this
Yeah.
in. I don't want to bring up the Curse of Spawn variant until you were on the stream, but it's funny that you said this because I actually am going to go over the Curse of Spawn at some point on this show. Might even look at the series on Akba one of these days. But since you brought it up, besides the sheer awesome look of the character, and I remember when this book came out, and I was just like, "What the fuck? This is awesome." What is it you love about the Curse of Spawn?
Dude, it's, I mean, the art, man. I'm like, you
Dwayne
have
Turner.
I mean, like, dude, you have Tom McFarlane, who's already like a highly rendered artist, and you know, being super inspired at a young age from his work alone. I was like, oh, you know, I think that was the top quality you can give for a character like Spawn, you know, especially with Greg Capullo, because they were always working hand in hand. And they said, nope, you know, brace yourselves because we got another doozy for you. And they come out, and you know, Curse of Spawn comes around, And it was just like, oh, dude, like, buckle your seatbelts because we're gonna really show you what hell looks like, like how evil and sinful the actions of these violators, the brothers and whatnot that are doing.
Yeah.
And you just get to see, even the storytelling. I mean, like, dude, a lot of times would be just one drawing on one side and a lot of writing
Oh
on the other
yeah.
side. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, I mean, no, it was kind of like breaking the mold a little bit because when Todd was doing comics, dude, he would just he'd be like, screw that, I'll just make a comic. I think it's like vertical, vertical. I'm stupid
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he would do it sideways. He'd make a comic book sideways. Even in the Curse of Spawn, you kind of see the layouts are all different again. It's just they were always throwing things at the wall just to kind of see. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy as detailed as that art was. You could still see exactly what they intended you to look at, and I was just amazed by that.
The art in Curse of Spawn is awesome. It's got Dwayne Turner, I believe, is the artist. Danny Mickey, who is, I think, one of my favorite inkers of all time. Like I talk about Bat and I talk about Joe Weems, Danny Mickey, and Scott Williams. To me, those are like the top four guys I could think of right off the bat. And if I
Mhm.
had to do a top five, I'd think about it for a second, throw another guy in there. But Danny Mickey is probably my favorite combination with Greg Capullo. And for Akbo later on tonight for the comic block hour 2, we're looking at Moon Knight, David Finch's run, and that's got Danny Mickey on inks, and that's my favorite combination with David Finch. The dude is a master inker. Like his textures, his lines, everything he does brings so much to the pencils, and it just takes everything that's there and just enhances it so much.
Mhm.
And this image right here was enough to sell me on anything with this
Yep.
character. Just the pose, the character design, the art itself. It's gritty, it's badass. And it makes you just want to pick up the book. You said this was like when they were throwing shit at the wall and see what stuck. That's what I loved about the 90s. To
Oh
just be
yeah.
like, let's try this. We got this
Yep.
crazy idea. We got these fun stories. Let's just try this and do it and rock and roll. And they come up with some gold, absolute gold.
I mean, what blows me
Um,
away the most is when you're, and it's create as an artist, you don't it doesn't really hit you until you're drawing your own book and whatnot. But when you're creating your own comics and you got a character that you're making, and when you're drawing that character, there's a specific way, and there's that specific way of the costume that you're drawing it. In the Curse of the Spawn, they take the classic version of that costume. They're like,
Mhm.
nah, screw that. We're gonna add some bump bone textures where the white parts are. We're gonna go ahead and make it so muscly organic for the black parts. I was
Yeah.
They just kind of like really went creative. They thought like they redesigned everything. Even the violators were different. Yeah, I mean, dude, that was my favorite little read. That's my favorite variant.
um, I shared something with you there,
Yeah, let me
Joe. I
bring
don't know
that
if you
up.
remember. Do you remember this? You have the
Yes.
piece.
Yes, I
You
do
have
have
the
the
piece.
piece. Yeah, this was one of the overflow. We did a auction for Sean a couple years back after his mother passed, and we asked for a bunch of artists to send in art so we could auction it off, and all the money went to the Ahrendt family. And this was a piece that Jay sent us. The only reason we didn't use it is because we had so much of an outpouring of people that we had so many pieces. There are a lot of pieces from a lot of artists that I still have in my studio. We were always supposed to do a second auction and just never got around to it. We'll have to do that one day because I've got all the stuff you sent me, including this. Yeah, that's badass, dude.
Let's see.
Love it.
Oh, Jay, you did that? That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
awesome. Hey,
yeah.
I see you,
That
boy. I
was,
see you.
yeah, that was like when I was like just getting back into comics. I was like, okay, let's do a King Spawn or a medieval Spawn a little bit, and yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's
was
kind of a
really,
combination
yeah.
of different ones. Yeah. No, that was
I don't
great.
care what anybody says, dude. I don't care. Spawn is a hard character to draw.
He is. Well, the chains suck. Like
Yeah,
they look
I love
cool.
the
absolutely.
chains.
They are
I
suck.
love
They
drawing
suck
the
to draw.
chains. I like drawing the chains. Uh,
Well, it all depends. Like, do you want to keep them completely uniform or do you want to just like, freehand the shit out of it, which is what I would do because I'm like, I can't sit here and make these chains look perfect. It's just
Yeah, free ball it. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, why I say like in the drawing there? Hell yeah. David said allegedly he asked Todd for a contract for months, and McFarlane just sent him checks but never addressed the legal issues. Gaiman just wanted some professionalism, but I agree he was getting money. Yeah. Got Rick Saylor, member of the channel in the house. Hey, brother, good to see you. By the way, we got over 100 people in the chat. Shout out to everybody. We have 89 watching over on X. We have 16 over on YouTube waiting for that core 20 to roll into the house on YouTube. But great to see you guys. SF Gaming says, just got here, putting it out there. Alex Ross, Spawn 300.
Oh, dude.
I'm going to have to look that up because I don't know if I've seen that. Let me look
Even
it up.
I mean, like, what is it? Greg Capullo's variant. I was
Dude, anything Capullo, I'm in.
I got the Capullo covers.
Did you see the Greg Capullo Spider-Man variant he did for like issue like 25? Right now, I was like, so simple and it was so effective. It was amazing. He has such an act for composition. I was like, wow.
Oh yeah, Greg's amazing, man. Okay, yeah. I did see it. Let me bring it up. But yeah, like, so my thing, hopefully this is a good image. My thing, when I got 300, I got all of Greg's covers. I got Todd's cover. Who else did covers? There's a ton of people that got covers.
Definitely put a freaking bite in your pocket, that's for sure.
Yeah, Scott Campbell. I got
Scott Campbell.
Picked up his cover.
I think, did Angel do one?
Medina?
I think did he do one? I can't remember if he did or not.
I don't remember him if he did.
Because he was going like it was a throwback to everyone that worked on Spawn. A lot of people did covers. Shit, I'm trying to think. There was did Finch do one? Can't remember if he did or not.
Dude, I get so like, because I know like Finch did a King Spawn cover.
Yeah.
At one point. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'd have to look up the list.
Oh
dude,
yeah. This is
I wasn't expect. Oh my god, dude, fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
I was not expecting like the reveal in that book. I wasn't. I was like, this is it. Maybe Al is gonna die, and it was gonna be
and 300
taking over. Yeah, but then he was like, nah, fuck that. Hold my beer. He's like, I don't need the, he's like, he goes, I don't need the powers to be Spawn. And he's like fucking digging spikes in his hand.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
The soot from the explosion, rubbing it on us. I am Spawn. I'm like, what the hell? Yo, freaking out. I haven't like, yelled out. Like when I'm reading in a book and, you're reading in quiet, but there's very few moments where you're like yelling, like "woo!" And that was a moment I was just like yelling out. Oh my God.
Dude, I was like that for Silvestri and Joker, Deadly Duo.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I was. All the pages of that 7-issue run are sticky that I own. I'll say that right now. But the wow moments that I love about what's going on with Spawn right now. I did that with issue 350, where I love that issue so much. Like, again, that issue single-handedly created this show, is really what it did, because it was the issue, because I was following Gunslinger, because of Brett Booth. I'm a huge Brett Booth fan, as everybody knows. So I was following Gunslinger and just loving the art, and I would read the books. Like, I'm not an avid reader, of just investing my time sitting and reading the story. I skim pages, I read, stuff here or there, so I get an idea of what's going on. But when I knew that Brett was jumping to the main title, which I'd been wanting him to do for a long time, I read the entirety of issue 350. And there were moments in that book where I was captivated for the first time in a long time, drawn into the story, even though I didn't know exactly everything that was going on, because I was kind of loosely following the storyline. The end was great. Nick's taking the throne was awesome. Everything about that book was just, I found myself like, I was like a teenager reading Spawn again. That's how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
We've said it before on the show. Like, it was that cool of a book. And that's why I hit Sean up not too long after that. And I was like, dude, I think we were originally just going to review Spawn 350 is what we were going to do. Like, do an Akba on 350 and just talk about it. And I was just like, dude, we need to do more. And I was like, we need to do an actual show on Spawn. It was like, there's so much we can cover when you come to the history of Spawn and all the books, the cartoons, the movies, which we will get into at some point down the line. But I wanted to dive into that main story because I was just so excited about Brett Booth, but the story itself is just fun. And it's one of the only comics out there on the shelves right now that I anticipate every single month. And I actually sit down and read it. And everybody knows I don't read, or I can't read. So yeah.
I skip to the comic shop when I know it's coming out. Like, I literally get excited because the art is yeah, I do. I skip to the loo. It is like I'm so excited. Like, I haven't been this excited since like when Image in the 90s. Like, I'm like super excited with this series. Like 351. I was like, how is this going to play out? And I was like, my God, I'm sold. This is where they're going with this is unbelievable. I was like super, 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 super happy with that. I couldn't be happier. And every book following 352, 53, we talked about last week or the week before, phenomenal storyline. Like, you're just like, what is actually going to happen? Like, it's like a soap opera. You're like, every episode you're watching to see who is, screwing someone else over or whatever the case is. This is it. This is the book right now.
Yeah.
I agree, because my drop off point for the long so I'm going to be honest here for a second. So like, I stopped reading Spawn after the arc with Al Simmons' daughter became the Spawn.
I couldn't read that either.
I don't even remember
stopped
that, to be honest with you.
It was good, but I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna move forward from it, kind of moment. And then I jumped right back on when Jason Sean Alexander came back. He came in, he brought a whole horror theme element to it that wasn't quite there to some extent. And I was following that, and then that was right, and I was following right up until the Road to 300. And then I stopped again because I couldn't afford it at that point, where Billy Kincaid is a mastermind behind a lot of shit. He just, it was revealed that he was like a big time baddie, just waiting to come, to take over everything, like unstoppable. And then Cagliostro is like also a bad guy too now, and I'm
See,
like,
that is the only thing that I wasn't a huge fan of, is the fact that Cagliostro is a bad guy. And here's the thing. So, not reading from issue 100 to pretty much 300, there's a few things I've gone back and kind of looked. I've watched some videos of people covering that time span that I missed because I don't have them and I don't have time to go collect them and read them all. And there's a lot of stuff that happened during those 200 issues that I'm glad I probably missed it, because it wasn't something that was really intriguing to me as far as the story goes. This kind of jumps into the other topic that Jay kind of brought up before we went live, of just talking about like how the character has evolved, how the story has evolved over the years. Now we're at issue like 354. One of the things I didn't like is turning Cagliostro evil, or as a villain, and that Sean Alexander, good artist, don't get me wrong, not the art that I wanted to see on Spawn. Like, I like what Brett is doing. That's probably why it's brought me back, right? Why Gunslinger brought me back, why I'm a big fan of the main title right now, because it has the feel of what Spawn was to me as a kid. And that's that first 100 issues. Like, that's to me, even like 150, Angel Medina's run was really good too, even though I was kind of on and out. I'd see a book here or there and I'd collect it, but I never really read it. But once you went and dove into that horror stuff, as far as an artist or lover of art, it wasn't my taste. And I was just kind of like, I'm kind of like completely out when that happened. But the moment they kind of,
well, his style is it's like a rotoscoping kind of style. I just don't care for it. I like, the story was
like,
good,
it's not bad at all. We're not bashing the artist.
I'm not bashing him, but I'm just not, it's not my, like you said it, you summed it up perfectly. Like, I like the Capullos, the McFarlanes, Brett motherfucking Booth style. Like I like that. That has to be the style for me for Spawn, because they bring so much dynamic poses and atmosphere to everything. Like
Absolutely.
With Jason Shawn Alexander, and he's moved on. I think he's with Marvel now. Is he not? Or DC?
Is he?
One of the two. Yeah, he's with maybe he's DC. I can't remember. But like it's the style that just didn't fit for Spawn with me.
That's the thing. Like
it really
aesthetically, it didn't fit to me.
Yeah,
to me.
I couldn't like. I don't like that style at all. I just like it. Just when I'm reading the story and I'm looking at the images, I'm like, it's not hitting with me, and I didn't want to read it anymore. Not to bash him, because he's really good at what he does.
Oh yeah,
there's a reason why he does
it. Fantastic artist.
Yeah, but I need my Capullos, McFarlanes, and
the problem with me, not necessarily that I'm a traditionalist. I guess maybe I am, so to speak.
I am,
but yeah. So the vibe and the mood of Spawn was created by Todd McFarlane. It was perfected by Greg Capullo. Capullo did 80 some odd issues, maybe the most I think of any artist at this point. I'd have to really break that down. The other artists have had long runs, but he perfected what Spawn looked like. So to me, I always hold that as the pinnacle, right? And so anything else is coming in below it that's not matching that. You know, like Angel Medina did a good run visually. You know, I've gone back since then and looked at a lot of his work through Spawn that I didn't at the time that it was live. So that was good. I mean, that met a lot of the check marks, but like a lot of the other stuff is, except for like Philip Tan jumping on here or there, doing some really cool work. Brett is the first person that's really kind of brought that aesthetic back. And to me, the reason why I'm reading the new book so much is like, it reminds me of what Spawn should look like. You know, it's an updated version. It's got Brett's talent on it, but I look at it, I'm like, yeah, like this is what Spawn should look like all the time.
Mm-hmm. You know, I can go ahead and agree with that, because there is a certain style that when it first comes around, that's what it sets in your mind, that this is how it should always be. And when you divert too far away, artistically speaking, it can turn some fans off.
Yeah. It's, you know, especially someone like me who's just like, I'm diehard the art. You know, like that's just what I am about comics. Like I follow the artist first, and then it's character and story after that. So if you change up the artist too much, it kind of throws me off and it sours me from the book. If you have a good artist or an artist that follows up my favorite artist with a similar style or something that captures my attention, then I'm bored still. I'll keep on rolling. I got Henry in the chat. Good to see you, brother.
I honestly couldn't afford it.
Collecting all the
yeah, dude. I only
there's a lot of titles. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, but I respect that he's finally building that universe now. And
I love it. Yep, I love that he's doing that.
Yeah, like Philip Tan had a few books that I really liked too. I liked Philip Tan.
Yeah, I'd love to see Philip Tan have a longer run on one of the titles, you know, at some point, because I love Philip Tan's work, and he's another one that brings that aesthetically pleasing look that Spawn should look like. Henry in the chat says, I think that Todd McFarlane is a better inker than he is a penciler. I've heard some people say that. Now I will say this. Todd's got a very unique style that's very much all his own. We've heard Stan Lee say it before. You said just like that. It's all Todd McFarlane's style. Very recognizable every time you see it. And Todd himself will even say that he wasn't like the most talented artist, right? But he knew how to draw shit that drew your attention and made things cool. And that's what he is. That's what he kind of stands for. His Spider-Man stuff was great. His Spawn stuff was great. That being said, I think the dude is a phenomenal inker. And he's just got that talent to go and ink over anybody. Look at all the covers that he's inked over Brett Booth or Greg or Silvestri or Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld. I mean, all these guys he's inked over the years. And he's much like Mickey in the way that he just adds that special panache, you know, to the pencils, and just it becomes a different monster. So yeah, I love Todd's pencils. I love his inks.
I wish he would pencil more often, because like he goes.
Yeah, me too.
He goes straight to inks now. Like that's how talented he is. I wish he would pencil more and then ink, because then I think we would see a little bit of the older McFarlane pop out and see how much he's developed with his inks. I think we would see a little bit more from him, but I mean,
I want to see him do just one more time, Todd. If you're watching, doubt you are, but if you are and you ever hear this from a big fan of yours from back in the day, in fact, Todd McFarlane was one of the artists, probably the main artist that made me want to be a comic book artist back with his Spider-Man run. Do me a favor, just draw one book. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a Spawn book. I don't care if it's Spawn Spider-Man. Draw one entire issue. I want one more issue out of Todd before it's all said and done. Because the last time we got to see him draw a significant amount was Spawn 50, where he did half of that book, and it was awesome. It was so cool to see him drawing again and sequential storytelling. So, Todd, find some time. Take as long as you need, just like Silvestri took friggin' 10 years to get out Deadly Duo or whatever it is, as the story goes. Take as long as you need. Give us one awesome book. I want to see him slinging ink on an entire book again. Let's go. Let's see.
How did you? Let me ask you. How did you feel about the Spawn Batman crossover book?
I hate to be critical, because I don't really like being critical. I like to lift instead of tear down. But I wasn't a huge fan of it, and for whatever reason, I would love to know the behind the scenes of the making of that book. It seemed rushed to me. Especially with Greg's pencils, it almost seemed like it was something that popped up and tried to fit into a schedule with everything else that Greg was doing. I would have chose a different story. I don't think I dug the whole Court of Owls thing. I would have done something completely different with Spawn and Batman. Coming off of the original Spawn and Batman, written by Frank Miller, drawn by Todd McFarlane, that was okay too, but it had an interesting, just kind of unique story, right? I would have liked to see something a little bit more, give us a brand new villain, just create a throwaway villain for a one-shot Batman Spawn book that they both have to take care of. The Court of Owls to me was just played out. It's just been played out. I love the original run of Court of Owls by Scott Snyder. But to me, the characters are played out. Like, I had no interest when I heard that they were going to be like the villains and stuff. And obviously there was other villains in there, but it's just when it was around the Court of Owls, it was like,
That's a Batman story. I agree with you. That's a Batman story. You don't need to bring the Spawn into that. But I mean, for me, I don't know how you feel about it, but I felt the art was too clean and too cartoonish kind of.
It was,
and it was. Yeah. I'm like, this is different. Like, I'm used to like Capullo, like really making everything really kind of in your face, dynamic and grotesque and intimidating. That book didn't, and I hate to say it, but it just fell flat for me. I didn't know where they were going with it.
The problem for me is that there was such a high standard put on Spawn art-wise by Greg, because it's my favorite work of his, so anytime he ventures back and does something like the Creature Spawn, I want to see him go back to that style, and like, I love his stuff overall, don't get me wrong, but yeah, his cleaner style that he does now, he could really benefit from working with a guy like Danny Mickey again, that would take his stuff and just grit it up a little bit, add some more texture, all that kind of stuff, and just dirty it up a little bit to kind of match those vibes that Greg had on Spawn, and especially the Creech. I've covered the Creech on Appreciating Comic Book Art Live before, went over both of the series that he did, Series 1 and Series 2. It's some of my favorite work, especially that first series with him and Mickey. Is just beautifully designed pages. I haven't
gotten around to read that.
Oh, dude, you got to check out the Creech.
Okay.
Especially that first 3-issue miniseries. It's absolutely beautiful work. And I think that was the thing that was missing artistically from it. And I just think that it was a rushed project, and I don't know the behind the scenes story, but I would like to know if it was something that they went into thinking it was going to be one way and it kind of turned out to be another, and they just kind of had to get it done. So I don't know. What do you think, Zach?
It didn't grab me. Like it was like it's like oh, Wolverine versus Predator. You know, all the build up is happening, and then you're like, all right, you know, we'll see how it goes. You read it, you're like, all right, it didn't really excite me. I had a fun time reading it, but you know, I thought they could, if they were going to pick a Batman villain, I feel like they could have picked a better villain. If they had to do like that crossover thing, it's so tough with and I don't know why it is, but whenever you see a crossover comic happen with these big characters, I don't understand why I feel like they put a cap on the censorship kind of thing, like where you're like, all right, so here is the Violator, and we're gonna pit him against the Joker, but then there's the tamed down version, so the heroes can have more of a stepping plate over them. And I'm like, I don't think you can do that. I don't think you have to do that. You know, I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it. I like looking at the artwork, just studying the compositions and whatnot. But it didn't really excite me like that.
That does kind of, yeah, when you're going from an independent book that can pretty much do whatever the hell they want to do, and then you go into a mainstream book that probably has a little bit more restrictions, even though mainstream books kind of push the edge every once in a while. The code isn't around as far as I know anymore, but I do feel like they have a standard of what they don't want to go to, you know, so they can kind of keep it for a certain audience. So yeah, that does get kind of hard sometimes, because Spawn's a hardcore book, you know, and so if you got to dummy down Spawn, you know, but honestly, I thought the Spawn Batman was violent enough. Like the fight between Spawn and Batman was pretty cool. Like it was a pretty violent fight going in and out of the dead zones where he has powers, then he doesn't have powers. You know, like that was kind of cool. That was probably the only thing in the book that I liked. And everything else was just kind of like, you know, is what it is. It's still cool that they made it.
Oh,
what up,
sorry.
Stephen God? Or
I was going to say this
Hey.
will never happen, but a Savage Dragon Spawn crossover, like, you know, to date, would be really cool. I do have a soft spot for that character, but it will never come.
I doubt they ever do it. It was kind of cool to see them cross over, around issues 51 through 50 or 52, was it? That they met in hell when they both happened to die at the same time. I thought that was kind of a cool concept, where the dragon got killed and went to hell and they ran into each other. And then you got to see, you know, Spawn guest in
that was
Savage
Angel.
Dragon.
Wasn't that that
was still Greg.
It was still Greg, yeah.
Some of my favorite issues of Greg were issues 50 through 100, but that 50 through 54, like that trip through hell as he's going through, you know, all the different tortures he's going through, and finally runs into Malbolgia in issue 53, I think it is. There was just some very inspired artwork with that. Well, running up on the hour, guys, we got Appreciating Comic Book Art Live coming up at 10:15 here. We're going to be looking at David Finch's Moon Knight run, issues 1 through 4.
Oh,
yeah, beautiful work.
Don't even get me started on
it's going to be awesome. If you are in the chat right now, you don't have to do anything except hang out for a few minutes. You're going to be automatically redirected to Appreciating Comic Book Art Live, which is the second hour of the comic block here on Mondays. Zach, how you doing that? Art, you're going to be with us for the next show. Do you want to show it off the next show? You want to do it now?
I'm going to keep working on it. I'll show you guys what it looks like now, and
let me blow you up.
Keep working on it.
Let's see. Oh yeah, it's gonna look sick. Oh, dude, that sword is awesome.
Wow.
I'm trying.
Wow. Hell yeah.
Spawn is, like I said, Spawn is one of those characters, super detailed, and yeah, I mean, like, I gotta figure out like the armor plating, making sure it's correct, and I'm trying to make sure. Yeah,
that's a fact.
So,
dude, that's looking sick, man.
I mean, your what is it? You say one of your favorites is medieval, so I was like,
I love medieval. Yeah, Gunslinger and medieval, man. Those two characters.
Yeah.
I forgot to bring it up because we got sidetracked into a couple of other conversations, which was great. It was a great conversation tonight. But the samurai Spawn or the ninja Spawn, I don't know much about the character, but I love the look. You know, aesthetically, the look of that character. So that could be another one. Christopher Bouchard said, "Sup, Joe? How about Reaper Destroyer versus Spawn? I would be 100% down for that." Speaking of Reaper Destroyer, let me bring it up real quick because I do have a book. I'm going to shill it real quick before we get out of here. I have a book called Reaper Destroyer, live on Indiegogo. Now, let me refresh this because I thought I got a few more backers over the weekend. Where are we sitting here? Yes, we did. All right. Shout out to everybody that recently backed the campaign. I appreciate you guys. This book is finishing. Well, the main book is lettered, ready to go. We're waiting on the supplemental book to get lettered as well, and then we're going to be headed to print. But this is, if you love Spawn, if you love the stuff that we talk about on this channel, you're going to love this character. The character is very much influenced by a bunch of different characters that I loved growing up. So a lot of people kind of reference it to Spawn or the Darkness. I think you're going to love it. But it is not a Spawn ripoff. It's not a heaven versus hell story. There's much more to the story. I tried to make it very unique so it wasn't a ripoff, but it has everything that you're going to love about the dark heroes of the 90s, you know, because I'm tired of the Spawn ripoff books that go out there. Like, oh, the character looks like Spawn. You read it. Oh, heaven versus hell, you know, angels and demons. This has some very awesome supernatural stuff, but is very much to me a unique story. Dives into everything I loved about the 90s, including conspiracy theories. You'll see them when you get in here. But if you haven't backed the book, back it today. It's absolutely awesome. Some of my best work. I'm very excited. The people I get to work with on this book, like Joe Weems, Matt Batbanny, Marlo Quiza, Dave Kemp doing the colors, Kyle Ritter helping out with the colors as well, is a fantastic ride. Can't wait for you guys to check this out. And going forward, we're going to make this book cheaper and hopefully quicker to get out to everybody. Everyone, thank you for sticking with me with the patience. Had ups and downs doing this book in personal life. Lost my dad while I was doing it. So one thing does suck that he's not going to be able to read it. But I know he was very proud of the work that we were doing in this book. So shout out to my dad, especially being that it's Father's Day, or was coming off of Father's Day. Fuck.
What happened? What happened?
All right. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. No.
I didn't think I was.
It's all right.
I didn't think I was going to get me like that.
No.
Anyway,
it's all good.
I love you, Dad. Shout out to all the fathers out there. But check it out. Links are down below.
Hell, Joe. It's all good, bro.
It's
No,
all
don't
good, man.
apologize. No. Hell, no.
Nothing to be
It's
sorry
all good.
about.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. I did not expect that to get emotional like that. All right. Before we get out of here, let's go around real quick. Jay, where can we find you? I know you'll be on the show coming up next, but where can we see your stuff? Where are you going to be next?
Well, yeah, I'll be redirected right into your next show. But I'll be doing Ep.9 tomorrow night on Diabolical Souls Presents. These guys will be a part of it. They'll be on the show. We're doing episode 2. We might have a special guest tomorrow night. Swing by and check it out. We got an awesome panel. Wednesday, we're doing Ghost in a Shell at 8 o'clock Eastern on my channel. Come check out that one as well. And then Thursday night is the last part of the animation block from Diabolical Souls Presents. We do Demon Slayer, and we're doing episode 3 on that one, I believe. Yeah, to episode 3 on that one, and it's been a blast. It's again over 10,000. I thank everyone out there. I appreciate you all. I am planning to do a celebration stream, but every time I try to do one, I'm always getting another, you know.
You're a busy man.
Yes, I've been working my tail off. So I got a lot in store for moving forward this summer. The next week or two, it's gonna be awesome. And so these guys are going to be involved. So thank you again for having me on Spawn. I love this show. I really truly do love this show. So.
No, it's great having you, and Zach, it's a pleasure having you here as well. I love just talking to people.
Thank you, man.
Know more about Spawn than me, and that's one thing about this show. Like, I don't come into the show, it's called the Spawn Review, but I'm not an expert on Spawn. I know the stuff that I know, and I'm kind of discovering a lot of the stuff that I missed, because completely honest, like, I missed a big chunk of the history of Spawn. So I'm learning. I'm picking your guys' brain, especially Sean, our other co-host who's not here tonight, who's read every single issue as well. So this is almost kind of like a self-discovery for me as well when it comes to the character. And I've always loved Spawn, one of my favorite characters. So it's a fun show. Chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, showing up as you always do. We got over 157 people all together, got 136 watching over on X21. We got the Core 20. I didn't give you guys a shout out. Let me give you a hail the Core 20 in the house before we get out of here. Hashtag C20. Appreciate you guys. The support is awesome. Zach, where can we follow you at? And where are you going to be next?
You can find me on Zachary's Art on Instagram and Twitter. It's the same. But honestly, dude, Jay just steals me now. Like, I'm always on his
That's
show.
true. Yeah.
I get a kick out. I'm always drawing something for every episode. So I'm always on the grind with that. And my books just came in, earlier in the
Yes.
week. I'm super excited for people to read Voyage. That was a strong 2-year battle to fail and launch and then fail again and launch. So I finally got to the point where the book is made and I'm working on my next project. But I got something
Nice.
really, really, really sick that I'm working with Jay on. It won't be announced until September.
Oh, there's a
Yeah,
tease for everybody.
It is huge, man. It's huge.
Oh,
But
shit.
yeah.
Well, looking forward to that. Christopher asks, is both books done, ready for print? Still waiting for the supplemental to be lettered. I got to hit them up because I thought they would be done by now so I could start doing final edits on that. So I need to figure out what's going on with that. But as soon as that's done, we are ready to go to print. I ordered the custom boxes. I just dropped a video on this channel a little bit earlier showing the custom boxes that everybody that backed the Destroyer tier is going to get. And we're going to throw out the boxes on the campaign here coming up as well. Probably limited to maybe like 20 or 30 if you guys want to grab them up as well. Got the trading cards all ordered, waiting for those to get delivered to me as we speak. A lot of the metal prints I have sitting here, still have more to come. Yeah, man, we are so damn close to getting this thing rocking and rolling and getting it into everybody's hands. I appreciate all the backers, everybody that showed up on night 1 to make that a successful night, successful day. Running this thing all the way up to over 70K. You guys are absolutely amazing. Jay says Zach's getting his Ghost in the Shell cherry popped Wednesday on the Gucci's channel.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, tune in for that. That was one of the
I've never
first,
seen the movie, so I'm going to be watching
such a good movie.
It late tonight, actually.
I remember when I was a kid, teenager, watching that movie, and it was just because I was like, oh, cool, a naked chick. So that's what I remember about it.
Yeah.
We're going to jump out of here. A couple minutes, guys. Stick in the chat. We're going right over to Appreciating Comic Book Art Live. And we'll see you over there for David Finch's Moon Knight. But until then, if I don't see you until the next time, I always say this: be good to each other. Take care of one another. And as always, picture me naked. Talk to y'all later. Peace.
What the hell are you? Spawn. You sent me to hell, Jason. I'm here to return the favor. I'm gonna try, trapped in the grave.